there, this is Lindsay Upton the Quilt Quine, and today we're going to look at what happens if you have accidentally missed a piece out on your all-over quilt design. So I've been working on a very large customer quilt using shiny thread, and a couple of times the thread broke and I fixed the design, so I thought, but what had happened was that because of the backtracking, it missed a piece of the design out. So I just decided to carry on and finish the quilt, then go back and fix the missing pieces later. Now, the trouble is, when you roll back on the quilt, or if you go back to the project another day, things don't quite line up how you would expect. So the first piece of advice is always make sure you've saved your project and don't close everything down unless that has happened. So here we are coming back to fix something that is missing. So first of all, you need to make sure you've got a nice, generous, safe area. Then you need to work out where you are on the quilt. So I have counted that I am missing a piece, 1, 2, 3, 4 branches along approximately. Now, what I must do is disconnect the pattern because I only want to fix a part of it, and that is this motif here. So I'm going to disconnect this joined up pattern. So I'm only going to be doing this piece. Now, I wasn't quite sure because of the backtracking where I was exactly, so I've taken my sew head and I've put it right in this little branch here. But as you can see, my crosshairs on the actual quilt don't match the place where I should be on screen. So I'm going to go to snap to point, and then I'm going to roughly position on screen where the sew head matches up with the pattern. So I'll roughly put it here. Then I'm going to go into the actual sized view to make sure that it's accurately lined up. So it's in the blue section somewhere, and that is where Qmatic thinks it is on screen, but I've actually put my sew head here. So I'm going to click this point. Then I like to go back out into full view and then click the green check. And there we are. So my safe area is definitely around where I need to go. And this is where I now need to be. So first of all, I'm going to go to my sew options. I'm going to DQ all and then select the line I want to do, which is this line here. Good. So it gets a green check. Now, I'm not absolutely sure, due to the backtracking, if this is going to be bang on. So what I'm going to do is go into my settings and switch off the sewing. Now, I'm going to click play. It's green to go. And I'm going to tell Qmatic it has to begin at the closest point on the design. Now, Qmatic will go to that exact point where I want it to begin, and I'm going to click green to go. Now remember, it's not actually going to sew because I've switched off the sewing, and I'm going to watch it like a hawk, and when it gets to the place where it looks like it should start sewing, if indeed it is in the correct place, I will press pause on the sew head. So I shall go across to the sew head, give it permission to go. And now Qmatic is ghost sewing that part of the design. Now I've already stitched that part, so that's fine. And I'm watching, watching, watching. When it gets to where it needs to actually sew stitches, I'm going to be ready. I click that the machine is paused. I go back into settings and I put the sewing back on. Then I'm going to go across to my sew head, lift the bobbin up, and then click green to go again. Now it's going to stitch out the missing motif. I'm going to watch it like a hawk again. And when it has stitched the motif and it meets the part where everything is tickety-boo, I'm simply going to press stop, pull up the bobbin thread, and I have fixed my missing piece. Now I need to roll the rest of the quilt just to double check and see if any other motifs are missing, and I shall just repeat that process. I hope you found this useful.